hold up, wait a minute. What is this button? Score phone numbers? That seems intriguing. Let's go ahead and click on it. What could go wrong, right? Let's check it out. So let's click on the Score Phone Numbers button there, and that takes us to PhoneBurner's proprietary Connect Scores feature. This feature in PhoneBurner is amazing. You see, here at PhoneBurner, we help our customers make millions of phone calls. And we have relationships with all of the top carriers in the industry. And so we take all of this information that we have, all of the knowledge that we have, and the connections and relationships that we have in the industry, and what we're able to do is we're able to see who is most likely to answer the phone based off of real world signals, carrier data, engagement history, and phone metadata. We're able to take that information and we're able to allow you to choose which phone numbers, which contacts and phone numbers you want to score, and then we will rate those phone numbers, and it's on a phone number by phone number basis. We rate those phone numbers based off of their likelihood to answer. Now, will they answer your phone call? I don't know. What are you calling them about? Hopefully you've got something amazing that you're calling them about and they want to answer it, right? That's why you're using PhoneBurner. But what we are able to do is we're able to score that phone number and analyze that based off of all of this information that we have, and we're able to give you some sort of idea of whether or not they will answer the phone. And we're going to score them low, medium, or high. And then once those numbers are scored, then you're able to take advantage of that information, filter and sort, and even exclude contacts to be called in a dial session based off that score. So it's an amazing feature, and I am going to show you how to take full advantage of this feature. So buckle up. This is going to be a longer training, but we're going to go through every aspect of the Connect Score feature so that you can get the most out of your data. Right here at PhoneBurner, we're all about helping you connect with more people in less time, and this is just one more way that we're going to do that for you or help you do that. So let's talk about the different tiers of this feature, right? So obviously with everything in business, there is a cost. We had to spend a ton of time building and creating the algorithms and the features and the functionality to make this work in our system. And so in order to recoup that cost and to, keep the lights on here, we do have to charge for this feature. And so we've got this broken down into 3 different account levels. We've got starter, growth, and scale. Each of these include a certain number phone numbers that you can score each and every month. So for example, the starter allows you to score up to 1,000 numbers a month. Growth allows you to score up to 5,000 numbers a month, and scale allows you to scan or score up to 15,000 numbers a month. Now, of course, if you don't necessarily need to score up to 5,000, so you want to be at the starter, but you need to score more than 1,000, we allow you to add additional usage at $15 per 1,000. Another important thing to consider is that the score is only valid for 14 days. And we know, based off of all the information we have, that those signals may change within 14 days. And so that's why we've set that to a 14-day time frame. And so every 14 days, so if you were to scan phone numbers today, in 14 days, we don't want to take into account or consideration those previous scores because things have changed. Things have happened with those phone numbers since then, and we need to get a new score on those. But it'll be up to you, and you'll get it as we go through this training. You'll see how you can score. You can make decisions on whether or not you want to score these numbers again in the future. And so if you want to make sure that you always have the most up-to-date information, we have to score it every 14 days. I'm going to go ahead and select an option here. I'm going to go with scale because I've got a big team. We make lots of phone calls, and I want to make sure that every number is scored throughout the month. So I'm going to choose scale, and I'm going to click on Purchase Add-on. I'm going to confirm my purchase. And now we're all set. It's turned on. But how do we take advantage of it? There are a lot of different ways that we can take advantage of this feature. And the first option is to automatically score and skip calls. So you can see I've got this turned on, and I have it set to automatically score and skip calls based off of a medium threshold, meaning they have to have at least a medium or high value for me to even call them in a dial session. And this is automated. This is dial session based. In fact, I'm actually going to turn this off for right now because I want to show you some other options first. We'll come back here. Don't worry. We're going to come back and enable the score and skip calls option. We also do have some reporting and some learn more options. We'll come back to that later, but bear with me. Let's talk about how to take advantage of this. So let's jump back over to contacts where this all started, right? Let's go back to contacts, and let's say we've got Nova here and Monica and Robert and George, and they all have phone numbers associated with their contact record. So let's go ahead and select them, and now let's click on the Score Phone Numbers button. Boom, done. It's that easy. So let's go ahead and open up Nova. Uh-oh, Nova's got an orange, which means she's got a medium score. Now let's go down to our next contact. We got Monica has a red number and a green phone number. So she's got one phone number that we feel like she is going to be most likely to answer, and one that the likelihood of her picking up that number is pretty darn low. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. The next one, okay, Robert's got 2 green phone numbers. That's fantastic. Let's go to our next contact, and this one is a medium. So of my 4 contacts that I just scanned, we've got numbers that are all over the board, right? Low, medium, and high. But how can I take advantage of this, right? So I can go to, let's go back here. The first way that I could take advantage of this is I could use the sorting feature in PhoneBurner. So I'm going to click on the little sorting menu in the upper right-hand portion of the page, and I'm going to go down to the Connect Score option. And I can sort it high to low or low to high. So here we are. We've got Robert Garcia at the top, and of course, Robert has 2 green high phone numbers, high likelihood to answer phone numbers. And then our next one is, well, Monica's kind of, I would say she's in the middle as a contact, but she does have a green phone number, so we want to move her up to the top. And then we go down to the next one, and now we're at medium, and our next one is a medium, right? So we sorted those contacts. So this is one way, one very simple way that you can take advantage of this feature, right? You score the numbers, and then you've got this list, and it's like, okay, I got to call all these people, but I want to start with the ones that have the most likelihood to answer. So I sort them by their Connect score, and now when I start this dial session, the contacts with the higher likelihood to answer are going to be called first, and then I slowly work down the list to those that have a less high likelihood to answer. What are some other options that we could take advantage of? If we go to the advanced search, in the advanced search, you'll see this Connect Score option here, and you can search for contacts in your account based off of whether or not they have a Connect score. So I can include contacts with or without a score. I can force this search to only look at contacts that have a Connect score. Or I can say, you know what, I want to look for contacts that don't have any Connect score, right? So you got some options here. So let's say I want to find all of my contacts with a high quality phone number, right? They have a high likelihood to answer score. So I select that. I could do some limiters here, like maybe it's a specific folder that I want to look at, like maybe it's my follow-ups or something like that. I'm not going to worry about that right now, and I'm going to hit search. Well, wait a second. I just did a search for contacts with a high likelihood to answer phone number, and I had only manually scanned 4 phone numbers, but I've got 2,000 contacts that pulled up in my search. Why is that? Well, we don't do the scan based off of contact. We do the scan based off of phone number. And since I'm in my demo account with all these contacts with demo phone numbers, you'll notice that a lot of these phone numbers are repeated. We scan the phone number once and that score gets applied to every phone number in the list. So that's why you're going to see, or you might see, more contacts with a score than, or more contacts return when you do a score search than what you've actually scanned, because we only scan the phone number once, even though that phone number might be associated with multiple contacts. Now, I know most of you are not going to have the same phone number repeated over thousands of contacts, but of course, this gives me the opportunity to show you or highlight that specific aspect of this feature. So, now we've seen you can sort, you can search by contacts based off of their Connect score, allowing you to build saved searches that focus on high, medium, and low likelihood to answer lists, so that you can spend the majority of your time on the contacts that have a higher likelihood to answer. So that's how you can manually do some scoring. So now let's jump back over to our Connect score settings. So now that we've activated it, this score phone numbers is not going to take us to the same settings page. It's actually going to score phone numbers, right? We're going to select all and score. To get to the settings, we're going to click on our initials or our image in the upper right-hand portion of the page, and we're going to go down to Dial Session Settings. In the Dial Session Settings, you will see Connect Scores listed as an option on the left-hand side. And we're going to go ahead and turn score and skip calls back on. Let's go ahead and check that. And let's go ahead and play around with this. I want you to see how amazing this specific feature can be. Now, it is important to know if you have score and skip calls turned on, then we're going to be automatically scoring phone numbers as you're making calls, as you and your team are making phone calls. So you want to be very careful with this setting if you have a very strict budget that you're trying to stick to. So you have the option to manually score and then sort and filter to kind of make sure that you always stay within that budget. But if you're like, you know what, I'm more concerned about connecting with people and only calling contacts that have a certain score, then you can turn this on and we'll do it automatically for you. So let's say, for example, you only want to call contacts that have a medium or high phone number. So we can turn that on, and this will automatically exclude calls to contacts or phone numbers that are low. What does that mean? Let's jump into a dial session. So here in our contact manager, let's go ahead and select some contacts to call. So I've got available leads that I'm chasing, right? I can go ahead and select them. I don't have to worry about the sort in this particular case. I could sort it if I wanted to ensure that I start with the highest first. But in this particular case, I'm not sorting, right? Because I want to keep things as simple as possible for me. Or maybe I wanted to sort based off of some other value, and I still care about the Connect score. So I select those records, I begin a dial session. There's no settings to adjust here in the dial session window because it's all based off that setting in the dial session settings page that we already talked about. So let's get connected. Start dialing. And here you can see we're calling Powerman, and he has a green phone number. High likelihood to connect. And so let's go ahead and mark him as live answer. Maybe we had a great call with him, we booked an appointment, and we move on. And so here you can see our next phone call is the thing. He has another high likelihood to answer phone number. Let's click voicemail and move on to our next one. So here's another one that's green. Let's go ahead and click voicemail just so that we can kind of move through some of these here. Let's go ahead and move on to voicemail. Click next. Oh, here we got a medium. So we're not seeing any contacts that have a low score. So here we are, another green. And I'm just going to kind of move through this fairly quickly, just so that you can experience it and see what's going on. And as you can see here, a lot of these phone numbers are repeated, Why? Again, these are all demo contacts with the same phone numbers, right? Used across the board. So we're continuing to go through this. Oh, wait a second. I had selected 25 contacts, but I only made 18 phone calls. What happened? Let's view our details and see what happened. Daredevil, we didn't call him because his phone number was below the minimum threshold. Jean Grey, didn't call Jean Grey because the phone number was below the minimum threshold. So as you can see, it saved me from calling through, what was that, seven contacts because they didn't have high enough quality phone numbers for me to call. So that is huge, right? Think about it if you're using LeadStream. Let's go into leads. So let's say I've got LeadStream and my team is using LeadStream. I can have this turned on, and even though I might have thousands of contacts in that LeadStream, the system will only call contacts that have a phone number that meet that minimum threshold. So here I am in a dial session. I could have dozens of my team members in here dialing, smiling and dialing, right? And they will all only call contacts that meet, or call phone numbers that meet that threshold, right? Because you can have contacts with multiple phone numbers, and if a contact has multiple phone numbers and one of those phone numbers is a high likelihood and the other phone number is a low likelihood, the system will let you call that contact using the high likelihood to answer phone number, but it will automatically skip the phone number that is low, that is on that lower threshold. So here you can see I'm smiling, I'm dialing, and I'm not going to see any phone calls that have a low likelihood to answer. But some of you might be asking, well, what if we do in the future want to call those contacts with a lower likelihood and they were not called in the lead stream? No worries. We have you covered. So I'm just making some phone calls here. I just want to get a few more dials in here, and then let's go ahead and end this dial session. I probably have enough data in there now. Let's close that. And I did some calls yesterday as well. So here we can see our dial session just went down. That went down by more than what we called if I paid attention correctly there. I didn't note that total value of available leads there, but let's go take a look at our receiving folders. Let's go to contacts. Let's go to the CS demo RCV, and let's sort this by last call. Where are you? There it is, right by my finger there. So here you can see last call, last call, last call. Last call not available. Why? Why was it not available if it came through the lead stream? Let's come in here and take a look. Oh, that's because they have a low likelihood to answer phone number. But because it was called through the lead stream, we're taking it out of the lead stream distribution folder, and we're going to recycle it like any other lead. It'll go back into the lead stream or onto the next lead stream or wherever you have your recycling set up. It'll continue to move through whatever process you have in place. So you can put in an initial group of records. You can say, okay, I want to call through this list, but the first time I call through it, I only want to be calling the medium or high. And then after your team spends a couple days working through that data, just calling medium and high, then you can adjust that threshold, or maybe even turn that threshold, that auto skip, score and skip off, and now let everybody call everything. And then all of the contacts would be called. So some of them would be receiving their first phone call because they were skipped previously due to them having a lower score phone number. So anyway, that is how it would work in LeadStream. Now, of course, I promised you that we would talk about what you could do if you wanted to work with data and play around with things and not have to score them every 14 days, right? For those of you who are budget conscious. Now, I'm not necessarily advocating for this. I want to be crystal clear here. I'm not advocating for this because I recommend that you get it scanned every 14 days so that you have the most up-to-date information. But if you wanted to, you could of course say, you know what, I'm looking for all of my contacts in my CS demo folder that have a connect score of low, or let's go high. And we could search and find those. So we've got 384 records that have a connect score of high. I could then go and click on actions. Actually, let's go ahead and select all. Actions, add remove tags, August 2025 high. Apply. So like what I was saying, I don't necessarily recommend that you do this, but I did want to point that out. That score, in our opinion, is no longer valid after 14 days. We know this because we analyze millions and millions and millions of phone calls. We have lots of data. We are looking at information, signals across the industry. And so we know that it's not really a good score after 14 days. We highly recommend that you make sure that you have updated scores every 14 days, which is why we built it the way we built it. But like I mentioned, when I was going through this in the beginning, I wanted to point out that there is an option for those of you who want to kind of play around with things, but just know that we do not necessarily recommend that you do it that way because that score is no longer valid. It's possible that that score is the same score in 14 days, but we have seen way too many things change with phone numbers within 14 days that we don't want to rely on that. Now, another thing that you may want to consider when it comes to the connect score, at least more specifically to the score and skip option, is whether or not you want to give your team the ability to choose their own level of score and skip. So what do I mean by that? Let's first go back over here to in the admin account, we're going to go to our dial session settings. From dial session settings, we're going to go back to connect scores. And let's talk about the score and skip calls option. Remember, this, when enabled, will automatically score every phone number for every contact as you're going through the dial session. So it happens in real time. We're looking at the database, we're looking at the system. If the contact hasn't been scored within the last 14 days, we're going to score it again to just verify where it's at in the system, what we think that their likelihood to answer is, right? And when you turn this on, this is a setting for everybody on the team. So as an admin, you're setting this for every user on the team. And you might want to have it at a specific level, but then there's different people on your team that you want to give them a little bit more control over whether or not their calls are scored and skipped and what the level is that they're skipping. So let me show you how you can do that. From within the settings, we're going to go to the team settings. From the team settings, we're going to go ahead and edit a user. I'm just going to pick Heather, for example. So I'm going to click on edit. When I edit Heather, if I scroll down here, you're going to see this dial session permission option. Override connect score threshold. If I enable this for Heather, Heather's going to have that option to override whatever your settings are for the team. And it's only going to affect Heather. So let's go ahead and log in as Heather. And now that I'm logged in as Heather, if I click on her initials in the upper right and I go down to dial session settings, she will have the connect scores option listed here. She's not going to be able to see any of the limits or what your total count is of how many numbers have been scored, but she will have the option to enable and disable it, right? And she'll be able to choose her threshold. Does she want to only call high quality numbers? Or maybe she wants everything low and above, whatever that might be. She can adjust it for her. So again, that is something that you can do on a per rep basis, and you only need to do that if you have a rep or a group of reps that you want to give them their own kind of ability to pick and choose when to use the score and skip in dial sessions and what that threshold is. So let's go ahead and return back to the admin account, and let's talk about reporting. For those of you who have Armor and are taking advantage of that feature to protect your phone numbers, then you have access to a special dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard tab in the account, and I'm going to go to the Armor dashboard. So for those of you who have Armor, we have an updated dashboard. If you don't have the dashboard that I'm showing you here, just reach out to our support team. We can get you activated with the latest dashboard. But on this dashboard, we are now taking advantage of the Connect Score option. So you can see or analyze your data based off of the Connect Score value. And I will point something really cool out to you right now. Even though this Connect Score feature is a very new feature in the system that you've been able to subscribe to, we've actually been analyzing your data for close to a year. So you actually have access to reports. When you get upgraded to the latest dashboard, you'll actually be able to see your Connect Score for the whole year so far this year for 2025. Pretty cool, right? So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Like I said at the beginning, this is something that we've been working on for a long time. This is a really cool feature. We're really excited about it. So you can break down your data here in the Armor dashboard based off of Connect Score. You can also segment the data in specific graphs on this dashboard based off the Connect Score. Let's go down. There's a couple other graphs that have this. Unique contacts called. That also takes advantage of the Connect Score option. So you can see contacts called based off of their Connect Score. Answer rates based off of Connect Score. This is where you're going to see some huge changes, some huge differences. You'll be able to see that Connect Score. Now, of course, mine are all demo contacts. As you can see here, my Connect Score, even in here, it's better, but you will see some really cool information here. I'm excited for you to take advantage of this. And I will point out, if you are an Armor customer, even if you have not upgraded to Connect Score, we're going to show you on the graph where everything lies, where everything sits. And then you can go and activate Connect Score to improve the efficiency of your team's time. So anyway, and then we got contact rate, Connect Score. As you can see, lots of options here when it comes to the graphing and reporting to be able to see where your time is being spent, how your team is spending their time, and how efficient and effective they are at calling contacts based off of that Connect Score. And I know if you'll take advantage of this and look into this data, you'll see that you're going to have much higher live answer rates with the people with a higher Connect Score. So anyway, I told you this was going to be a longer one. I hope you got some good value out of this. But as always, here at PhoneBurner, we're constantly looking at ways to help you and your organization have more quality conversations with your contacts. Be able to connect with more people. Be able to share whatever it is that you're reaching out to people about with more people. It's not always about calling more numbers. It's about connecting with more people. And yeah, here at PhoneBurner, we do try to help you call more people to make more phone calls. But it's not just about the call volume. It's about the connection and helping you have conversations. So I hope you see that. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope this helps you and your organization get the most out of the PhoneBurner system. Thanks again, and happy dialing.